Hi guys, Allison here. Happy Fuse Glass Friday. Long time no see. I do apologize for this longer than intended break. I have been having some success on other social media, particularly TikTok, which has given me a lot of commission work to do lately. So I just really haven't had the time or creative bandwidth to also make YouTube videos the past, I guess, couple months now at this point. So things have begun to calm down a little bit, so I figured I would make another video now that I have a couple spare minutes to think about it. So like I mentioned, I've been sort of trying to put more focus into TikTok lately. One of the cool things about that platform is doing live videos where I can interact with people who are, watching me make things real time. They give me feedback, I can talk back to them. That's been really enjoyable for me, and I think for the people who watch as well. And one of the things that people often comment on or ask questions about is like how I cut the glass and how I get particular shapes. Feedback I've gotten is, oh, you make it look so easy. How do you, make those shapes without using a saw or a grinder? So I figured I would just do sort of like a deep dive into how I cut the glass and what tools I use. I did another video quite a while ago about what tools I use, but I didn't really get into specifics about cutting. So I thought I would do that today with you. So the tools I'm going to be working with are the Toyo oil hand cutter. I do not use oil in this. I have never put oil in this. I know people do. I think it's supposed to make it cut better. I haven't needed oil. I haven't missed it. So I'll be using that. Then the running pliers I have are Laponit. They're the larger ones. Some people ask if I use, I don't remember the size in inches. I think it's like 8 or something. I don't know. But this is the larger size. I don't use the little mini ones. I have used those before. I don't really care for them. And then this tool is also by Laponit. I think they're like Grosing pliers. I can't remember the official name. I'm sure somebody in the comments will let me know that I'm wrong. But particularly I like the straight ones. There are ones that have, I guess it's a different tool, that have a curved sort of tooth here and it's like serrated. I do not like that one. I have used that one in the past and it doesn't work for me for what I need it to do. And then also just a regular ultra fine tip Sharpie. I might use that. We'll see how it goes. Okay. So I was trying to think about how to explain how I cut complicated shapes or how I cut shapes in general in the sort of most easy to understand way. And I feel like everything that I'm cutting comes down to 3 types of cuts. So we have straight lines, we have curved lines, and then we have notches. So I'm just gonna do a couple demonstrations. So straight lines, fairly simple. Edge to edge in a straight line. Of course, you can then do, diagonal straight lines to get triangles. You do, multiple straight lines in different directions on the same piece to get, more diamondy shapes, that type of thing. So that's straight lines in a nutshell. Then curved lines. So either multiple curves, so where I'm starting the score line in one direction and then slowly turning it in the other opposite direction. So I guess more like a wave. So I would consider that, a more complicated curve, or just a simple curve where it's only going at one angle, sort of as if it was a piece of a circle. So those would be two instances of using a curved cut. So then the third type of cut that I'm talking about, I'm just going to call it a notch. I don't know if there's a more legit name for it, but how I make notches is by using this tool, specifically the corner of this tool, and just going in. Sometimes I use the scoring tool for this. Typically if it's just a small notch I won't. So I'm just going to grab it and then pull away, and then you have that little bite taken out of the glass. Let me get my little scrap bin here. Usually I'm doing this over this bin to collect the little pieces, just so it doesn't end up all over my work surface. So that was a notch. Let's go again. So you can do these like, you know, in a row if you're adding, I don't know, texture to something. Like that can be a way to make it not just a straight line, depending on what you're going for. So let's put a couple of these together then. So like for instance, if I were, let's see, making a heart, right? So I would probably start with some sort of a triangle. Maybe. So we got our straight line to get the triangles. And then I would start it off doing curved lines to get the corners off. And then the notch, which is always the hardest part in my opinion, is getting the notch out. You can, you know, continue to make notches and try to get it a little bit deeper. So I did one from that side, one from this side. And then you can also use this tool just to sort of refine those pieces, get those little points off. And then, I mean, this is a very long skinny heart, but you get the idea. So let's see, what other sort of complicated shapes are there? Like a crescent moon is probably the most difficult shape that I can think of to cut. So maybe let's draw it, see how deep of a crescent I can get. Okay, so we have a curved line to start with. If you notice, I didn't, let me see, that's picking up. I didn't attempt to score this whole thing this way. I just scored it at an angle that I know I can easily break out. And then I can always go back in and just score the rest of that in another curved line. So the outside curve, that's easy. The inside curve is the part that I find I struggle with the most. So first I'm going to do another curved line, again, not as deep as the final shape that I'm going for, more of a shallow one that I'm comfortable cutting out. And then for the inside part, I'm going to score it now right on my line, and then use this again on the corner and take notches out. So sometimes like that, more of a piece will come off, like, you know, a bigger slice of it. That was awesome. That worked out well. Sometimes I have to do it in a couple more. Either way is okay. We get there in the end. And then just using this tool again to sort of nibble off those edges. So I suppose here is where people would typically like then go and use a grinder. You know, of course, if you're doing stained glass, you would need to, you know, make it way more perfect. I don't have a grinder, actually that's a lie. I do have a grinder. I don't even think it works. It's in my garage. I don't use it ever. I do have some of these hand filing pads. So like depending on the project, like sometimes I'll use these like really occasionally to sort of make it more perfect, but really not very often for the work that I do. Typically the basic shape, even if it's a little, you know, crunchy on the ends, that'll soften in the kiln enough for my liking. So let's see, so we have a heart, crescent moon. You can do circles this way too. I mean, it's, you know, the more perfect you want to be, the harder it's gonna be for sure. But let's see, so I'm gonna be using like this grid to get myself a perfect square to start with. This isn't big enough, it's this one. So just using those lines as a guide for my straight lines, which is easier to do on translucent colors, of course, than opaque colors. So using the straight lines to get the square first, and then again, just going back with some curved lines. To try to get a circle out. So, a little wonky, that's okay. That's where this tool comes in. When I'm getting a little point off like this, I don't actually use the corner. I'm using just like the inside teeth of, or not teeth, but you know, whatever you want to call those. That's what I use to round the edges, get those a little bit more quote unquote perfect. And again, this is typically going to be fine for how I would need a smaller circle like this. I do have a larger circle cutter that will score a perfect circle that I would use like if I was making a project that was on a circle shape. But if I'm using a circle in a piece, like, I mean, if it's like a moon or something, like this is gonna be fine for me. Of course I say that and then I say it's a little wonky, and then I'll just keep fiddling with it. But, so there you have it. So yeah, with these basic tools, I haven't really found that I'm, you know, lacking by not using a grinder or a saw. I guess if you were trying to make much more complicated shapes, then, you know, you might need one of those specialty tools. Trying to get holes out of the middle of pieces is impossible with just these tools. There are ways you can, you know, sort of fake it. So like if you were going for a donut shape, let's just draw this on here. So like if I want to get this circle out of the middle, I would just, you know, preemptively cut it in half here, my straight line, and then score this little semicircle, and using the corner, try to get this out. Let's see if this will work. That was pretty good. I'll try to get it a little bit deeper. So there's one half. Do the same on the other side. Hopefully the hole matches up decently. This one's giving me more trouble. Okay. And then since you cut it from one piece, it'll fit back together pretty easily. So that's one way to sort of cheat. If you need this to be in one piece, yeah, that's when you would need like a saw and a drill and that type of thing. But yeah, I hope this was helpful to some of you. Again, apologies for being gone so long. I will try to make an effort to be a little bit more consistent, although I don't think I will be able to get out a video every Fused Glass Friday. Just with shows coming up and the holidays coming up, it's just, I'm in a different place than I was when I started this channel. So it's all good news. I'm not away for any bad reasons, but I just wanted to at least touch on that. So if you guys enjoyed this video and would like to see more sort of tips and techniques for glass fusing, definitely subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!